Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 2. I am Raymond Eta. We're coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. Let's take a look at the headlines. 23 elections. FARC shares 750.17 billion naira allocation to FG state and local governments. Plus, Putin blames the West for Ukraine war. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for joining us. First in our news this afternoon is an electoral report that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reassured Nigerians and the international community of free, fair and credible elections. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu gave the reassurance when he received the Commonwealth Election Observer Mission to Nigeria, led by former South Africa President Thabo Mbeki at the Commission headquarters in Abuja. Yakubu commended the contributions of the Commonwealth Observer Missions to the development of Nigeria's electoral system, noting that Nigeria has benefited from the agency through the implementation of recommendations on the 2023 general elections. Meanwhile, a total of 146,913 domestic and international observers will be deployed for the 2023 general elections. This is made known by the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission. According to the INEC Chairman, the number of observers is the largest in the history of the country. The Commission accredited 196 national and domestic organizations that deployed 144,800 observers and 30 observers to abide by the laws of Nigeria while discharging their duties on the election day. Polling unit agents would take part in the 2023 elections. The electoral body made this known in a report titled Summary of Polling Unit and Coalition Center Agents submitted by political parties for the general elections. The Commission also revealed that a total of 68,057 would also participate in the forthcoming polls. The polling and coalition agents were nominated by the 18 political parties as their representatives in the 2023 elections. In the meantime, the Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahaya, has given matching orders to all commanders to identify vulnerable locations in the jurisdictions and take full control of those areas ahead of the forthcoming election. Logistics seen across the country is to support the Nigeria Police Force to ensure a safe environment for the elections. He added that the movement of soldiers and logistics was in line with the Operation Safe Conduct recently flagged up by the Chief of Army Staff. He said it will deploy 102,000 officers as part of its commitment towards ensuring a hitch-free election. Spokesperson for the Corps, Lushola Dumusu, disclosed that the safety of voters, operatives of the Corps who participated in the 2022 Osun and Ekiti elections have been paid their outstanding allowances. Away from that, the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FARC, in 23. The figure represents a decrease of 240.02 billion naira compared to the 990.19 billion naira shared in December 2022. FARC disclosed this in a communique issued at the end of its meeting in Abuja, noting that the federal government received 277.334 billion naira, got 180.135 billion naira. Similarly, the mineral-producing states received 32.730 billion naira as derivation. According to the figure released by the committee, the sum included the gross statutory revenue, additional sum of 15 billion naira from savings. In a separate development, unilingual education as part of its goal on International Mother Language Day. It also advised that children should be taught in their mother tongue as multilingual education. Director General Audrey, which is an essential cultural element. UNESCO urged the government to embrace multilingual of the importance of safeguarding indigenous languages, adding in the long term due to a lack of speakers. In another development, no fear in unified tertiary matriculation exams at the close of registration. The registrar of the board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, disclosed this at the end of a joint monitoring exercise with the permanent secretary. 15 culprits were discovered to have defrauded the process, adding that the culprit to Africa now. Botswana says it has seen a big jump in rhino, that 138 rhinos were killed over the past 5 years, especially in East Asia. She also cited the displacement of poaching gangs from 2017. Staying with Africa, said in a statement that 51 bodies had been found so far, as several soldiers were still missing and 3 wounded soldiers in intense fighting in the Odaland province. As for the Ukraine war, in a speech days before the one-year anniversary of the Russia's invasion, Putin described Western intervention over the years as a campaign of terror, a strategic arms reduction treaty between the US and Russia. He said that the country was still on the foreign scene, a 6.4 fresh panic after a massive February 6 tremor that left nearly 45,000 people dead. While in Syria, the White Helmet Aid Group said at least 158 magnitude quake followed 3 minutes later, with its epicenter in the Samadang district of Hatay province. The agency still to come in the news. Cody Gakpo speaks in Real Madrid-Liverpool Champions League clash tonight. To stay with us.
As Nigeria prepares for the general elections holding from 25th February 2023, broadcasters are enjoined to make ethical reportage their watchword. All political programs shall observe the provisions of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code and other extant laws relating to broadcasting. All broadcasting stations must adhere to the principles of pluralism and ensure equitable airtime to all political parties or views. All political programs shall adhere to the general principles of legality, decency, and truth. Party identification or symbol ends not later than 24 hours before polling day. Hate speech is prohibited. Be professional. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. And now,
welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. On our business news, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has said the index weight and the baskets deployed by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, for the monthly consumer price index are extremely outdated. It noted that what the NBS presents does not provide a true representation of expenditures patterns. But this was according to the latest IMF report and statement by the Executive Director for Nigeria. In the report, the IMF stressed the need for the NBS to use new weights from the 2018 National Household Living Standards rather than from the 2003 and 2004 National Consumer Expenditure Survey. It warned that outdated weights can lead to bias in the index presented by the MBS. Still in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says it had about 1.8 billion litres of premium malted spirit, otherwise known as petrol, that would be enough from mid-February to March 2023. It said this was part of concerted efforts put in place to sustain the supply of petroleum products across the country in order to forestall the re-emergence of queues in Nigeria. Meanwhile, reports say oil marketers had told newsmen in Lagos that the NNPCL depot that feeds private depots across the country ran out of supplies over the weekend, following the mopping up of available supplies by oil marketers. To health matters now, a new study has suggested that people who drank 2 or more cups of coffee per day had significantly lower systolic blood pressure than those who did not. The study, which was published in MPDI open access journals, also found a link between drinking more cups and lower peripheral pulse pressure, among other blood pressure measurements. The new study evaluated the health data from 720 men and 783 women from the Barsegal Heart Study (BHS), a study that began in 1972 and involves the rural population of Brisigella, a small town in northern Italy. The study clinically assessed the participants every 4 years. In their analysis, the researchers compared various measures of blood pressure with self-reported coffee consumption. At the end of the clinical trial, the researchers discovered that those who drank 2 cups of coffee per day or more than 3 cups had significantly lower systolic blood pressure than non-coffee drinkers. The researchers, led by Professor Arrigo Cusero of the University of Bologna in Italy, noted that while caffeine may raise blood pressure, positive effects on blood pressure. 8 more cases of Lassa fever, raising the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 531. The NCDC, in its Lassa fever situation reports for week 6, revealed that the disease killed 15 persons in 1 week, as the death toll rose to 85 from January to February 12, 2023. According to the report, the number of suspected cases increased compared to that reported for the same period in 2022. The suspected cases of the infection per week in week 6 of 2022 were 1,631, while the suspected for week 6 in 2023 are 2,244. And now in sport, Real Madrid will be playing against Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League tonight. Dutch professional footballer Cody Gakpo says Liverpool's games against Real Madrid in the Champions League last 16 are an opportunity to show that the club is back on track. The January signing has scored in Liverpool's last 2 games as the Reds picked up back-to-back wins in the Premier League. Meanwhile, fans have described the game between the two clubs as a fascinating encounter, as neither side have had a particularly solid season. Still in sport, Manchester City's quest to finally conquer Europe resumes on Wednesday when Pep Guardiola's men travelled to German side RB Leipzig away last week, only to then throw away 2 points by conceding late to draw 1-1 at Nottingham Forest on Saturday. City are also playing under a cloud after being charged with more than 100 breaches of financial fair play rules by the Premier League, dating back to the 2009-2010 season. A 2-point deficit at the top of the table could turn into 5 should Arsenal win their game in hand, as manager of Barcelona has not done so since 2000. In men's news, MultiChoice has announced the commencement of preparations towards the Tejumola, head of content and West Africa channels MultiChoice, made the announcement exhibited or broadcast between December 1, 2021. The entry portal opens on February 20 and closes on March 10. Football's manager Gareth Southgate in a new play about the pressure of penalties culture on the Southgate. Reports say it has inspired notions of masculinity. All of our social media platforms, and do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Raymond Eta. Good afternoon.